However, we do know that many of them sell ad space to powerful nonprofits. Yep. I believe that if you track the government spending through these nonprofits, you will find it goes from government to NGO into the hands of liberal pundits.
David Pakman.
Now, the word is pundits, not pundits. It's a made-up word, pundit. I dare you, look it up, doesn't exist. It's a pundit. And then Milo says David Pakman. Now, you know, this to me is very clearly, they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, getting money from Russia. I'm not alleging Tim knew. I don't know. You know, he says he didn't know. He says he did hardcore due diligence and he didn't know. He insists that what he was offered was market rate. I can tell you as someone, the information is public, right? This is not like a bragging thing. It's just my channel gets more views than Tim's.
David Pakman is losing his mind here on the David Pakman Show because Tim Pool exposed him for taking nonprofit money and putting it into his own pocket. And it's so ironic because the comeback for everything that Tim Pool would ever say ever, David Pakman would always say, oh, you're just a Russian agent, right? You took money from Russia to make videos and say certain things on YouTube. And it's so funny how now the tables have turned from what David Pakman was saying about Tim Pool taking money from Russia. Now David Pakman is getting exposed for taking nonprofit money as well. And he's losing his mind because of it. Let's get into this clip here where David Pakman melts down after Tim Pool exposes him for the things that he is doing here live on the David Pakman Show.
Think is worthy at least of a little bit of discussion. This clip was sent to me from the Timcast show where Tim Pool and Milo Yiannopoulos, who I guess has resurfaced with new, let's just call it a new look. I don't know that it's appropriate to talk about exactly which elements of his face are new, but it's a new look Milo Yiannopoulos. And the topic came up generally of the Russian influencer money, which Tim Pool received, but Milo didn't know that he received it. Anyway, none of that is important other than to say this led to allegations that shows on the left, like this one, and my name was mentioned here, we might be knowingly or unknowingly getting money that came from USAID, the now canceled program. And I actually didn't know. Over the last 2 weeks, I started getting hate emails from people going, David, your show's going to end now because you're not going to get that USAID money anymore. And I didn't know where this was coming from because, of course, we've never gotten money from USAID or any nonprofit that could be indirectly connected. We know our advertisers. They're just for-profit companies, someone selling a book, someone selling a mattress, right? It has nothing to do with USAID. But regardless, I was thinking to myself, why are people even talking about this show and USAID? Apparently, this is a known conspiracy theory. I believe the idea here is to say we may have gotten some Russian influencer money without knowing it, but David Pakman is getting USAID money without knowing it. Let's listen to what they had to say.
Billions a year.
I have a question for you and for everybody who's listening, or I should say I have a tip, I suppose. We know for a fact that there are many popular liberal podcasts that run nonprofits or have nonprofits buying ad spots.
Now, there are many liberal podcasts that run nonprofits or have.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Have nonprofits buying ad spots. Maybe that's true. I would love to know which nonprofits. He hasn't said it here. Now here Milo gets a little bit sort of like ad hominem where he goes, there are no big left-wing podcasts, not David Pakman.
But he's listening, or I should say I have a tip, I suppose. We know for a fact that there are many popular liberal podcasts that run nonprofits or have nonprofits buying ad spots.
There are any popular liberal podcasts.
Whatever you want to call it.
We're going to find out.
I think look, remember David Pakman after the election.
So Milo says there are no big liberal podcasts. Remember David Pakman after the election. Now, of course, what he's referring to is the fact that for 36 hours after the election, we lost subscribers. And it's funny because it's been months since that. We're at almost 3 million. It's, you know, they keep going with this thing. The left has lost all of its following. If you just looked at the number of subscribers we had on November 6th, and now we're almost at 3 million, you would know that that was like a 36-hour phenomenon. But okay, so anyway, let's continue.
So let me, this point I'm making is that who is funding these shows and how are they being propped up? One, obviously YouTube is propping them up, despite the fact they're clearly not popular as we just saw the results of the election.
Okay, Tim's argument is These shows like mine only get views on YouTube despite the unpopularity of our ideas because we lost the election, because YouTube is algorithmically propping them up. Couple things to say on that.
Well, look, if you guys know who I am, right? I hate to bring this up. I know that it gets annoying when I bring it up over and over again, but my main job, my main business is I'm a YouTube strategist, okay? I help a lot of people, especially in the political space. I've worked with a lot of the top channels that you watch every single day on the right-wing space. And that's my main job. That's my main business, right? Anytime any of my clients ever come to me and they say, dude, my channel's shadow banned, what do I do? It's like, dude, I don't ever like to think that way. That belief system doesn't serve you, so there's no point in thinking in that way. Even if it might be a little bit true, let's just pretend like it's not, because thinking that you're shadow banned is not going to serve you in any sort of way. 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they're not shadow banned, and their content just sucks for a little while. And I also don't like thinking that left-wing channels get propped up in the algorithm, and that's why, you know, they even have a following at all, because the left-wing ideology is just dying. I don't like thinking that way. But whenever many people have come out, you know, whistleblowers, and then I think it was Zuckerberg himself came out a couple months ago and said, yeah, we've been propping up left-wing accounts for a long time, and we've been censoring right-wing accounts for a long time. So not for breaking the rules, just simply for being right-wing. Same thing goes for the other side. Not because they're doing anything great, just because they are left-wing and the government told us to, but then also we thought we were doing the right thing because they told us that certain things that the right-wing were saying were misinformation. And you guys know the picture. You guys know that situation. Whenever that's happened so many times, I don't think it's unreasonable for someone like Tim Pool to say that one of the main reasons why David Pakman's channel and left-wing channels are so popular is because they are favored in the algorithm a little bit. I don't like thinking that way. I actually hate thinking that way because I don't like any thought pattern that takes power away from me. It takes responsibility away from me. But it has to be true. After all this time, after all this evidence, it has to be a little bit true, right? Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy.
On that. Number one, most people who voted for someone other than Trump. So if the idea is that YouTube audience is directly...
Most people who voted also voted for someone other than Kamala Harris. Like, oh my God. Like, dude, David Pakman is one of the more reasonable wokies out there, right? But he's one of the ones that makes me want to punch him the least. Statements like that infuriate me. Not because I'm some Donald Trump simp. You guys know I criticize Trump all the time. But because it's just so bad faith. It's so smug. Like, most people who voted didn't vote for Donald Trump. Okay, most people who voted also didn't vote for Kamala Harris, idiot. Most people who voted didn't vote for anyone, right? Didn't vote, like, there's no one person that got the majority of votes, or there's no one person that got more votes than all the other people combined, right? So that statement is irrelevant. Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't make any sense.
Reflective of the percentage of the American population that approves of what you're saying. More people voted for something other than Trump. So there's no real concern there. I mean, yes, Trump won electorally. I haven't denied that for a moment, but a majority of voters that voted did not vote for Trump. The idea that YouTube is propping us up algorithmically, if anything, it seems to be the opposite. And I actually think that it's in general, YouTube is not propping up news and politics generically, but okay, let's continue.
However, we do know that many of them sell ad space to powerful nonprofits. I believe that if you track the government spending through these nonprofits, you will find it goes from government to NGO into the hands of liberal pundits.
David Pakman.
Now, the word is pundits, not pundits. It's a made-up word, pundit. I dare you, look it up, doesn't exist. It's a pundit. And then Milo says David Pakman. Now, you know, this to me is very clearly, they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, getting money from Russia. I'm not alleging Tim knew. I don't know. You know, he says he didn't know. He says he did hardcore due diligence and he didn't know. He insists that what he was offered was market rate. I can tell you as someone, the information is public, right? This is not like a bragging thing. It's just my channel gets more views than Tim's. I can assure you that what he was offered was not market rate. It would be awesome if it was. I would say to Tim, congratulations, because then my market rate would be even higher. But this isn't the market rate. Now, in order to say the other side does it too.
As someone who knows what Tim Pool charges for a singular ad on a live stream, he definitely got paid a little bit more than he normally charges, right? It was a little bit more, but it wasn't as outrageous as David Pakman's making it out to be. I don't know if market rate, if he's referring to the average of the market, but Tim Pool is not the average of the market. Do you see how many people he pulls on every single live stream? Do you see how many super chats roll in on every single live stream? How much loyal viewership he has? That's not the average of the market. I couldn't go live and get the same super chats that Tim Pool gets. It's not going to happen. And neither could David Pakman. Right? So you might get more views. You might post more content that's more geared towards going viral. But I was actually shocked when I found out at how much Tim Pool charges for a singular ad on a live stream. It's a lot of money. And however much you're thinking in your head right now that it might be, double that. Okay? I don't want to say it because I feel like that's super unprofessional, but it's a lot of money. And I also know how much they're getting. Well, let me not say that, but it's the amount of money that they were getting from the quote unquote Russia is not that outrageous. It was a lot of money, no doubt about it. It was a lot of money, but it's not that outrageous. It's not as outrageous as David Pakman's making it out to be.
They are saying, they get money from USAID. It goes from government, USAID, a nonprofit, and then into the David Pakman show, even maybe through a brand. Now, you don't actually have to make this claim, because there are content creators on the left who over the last 10 years were getting money, for example, from state media in Venezuela and from other left-wing authoritarian regimes. So you don't even have to go and say, David Pakman's probably, we're not. And you can find examples of people that were. You don't have to do this. But when I look, for example, at today's advertisers, Ground News, it's just a news analysis website. It has nothing to do with a nonprofit. It has nothing to do with USAID. Naked Wines, it's a company that does wine shipped to your door. It has no connection to nonprofits. It has no connection to USAID. You may like the product, you may not like the product. Congratulations. It just doesn't. What's another advertiser today? MD Hearing. They make hearing aids. They sell hearing aids. It's a for-profit company. There's no connection to a nonprofit. There's no connection to USAID. I would challenge Milo, who says David Pakman. I would challenge him to find a specific example of a company that's advertising with us that is connected to shadowy nonprofits or USAID.
Now he might not even know, and that's the important thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're talking about me. I might not know.
Well,
no. Let me. This is important. You can accuse him of knowing. You can accuse him of intentionally taking money. My point is this.
I would never accuse David Pakman of knowing anything.
Sure. They're very well.
Isn't that funny?
Maybe
that was coming.
There very well may be individuals who their ad person comes to them and says, "This NGO wants to spend $100,000 in ads on your show," and they say,
"Yeah, we've never had an NGO come to us."
That conservative thing of giving too much credit.
No, I'm saying in general, big picture.
No, they know exactly where the money's coming from. Dave Rubin knew where the money was coming from when it was coming from Russia. He used it to buy his children.
So now Milo has stepped in it because he says Dave Rubin knew he was getting Russian money. And of course, Tim Pool got money from the same place. And now Tim Pool's going to get very defensive.
That is 100% false. And you know that ropes me into it. And I can verify it's 100% false.
All right.
Completely untrue.
It is so,
and this is important big picture stuff because USAID is funneling money into NGOs.
It's irresponsible in the extreme to the point of ludicrous negligence to not know where hundreds of thousands of dollars are coming from. To not even ask.
And that's not the story at all. So if you knew what you're talking about, maybe it'd sound smarter.
All right. So now they just argue with each other about Tim Pool taking Russian influencer money. It's funny how they were all having a good time dunking on me over made up claims, but now all of a sudden it gets a little tense.
I don't even understand what the big deal is. Like, I don't want to go too deep into it because I know it's like a serious court case or whatever, but I just don't even get the big deal, Even the stuff that's come out publicly, nothing has ever said that Tim Pool or Dave Rubin or any of these people were paid to say certain things that benefit Russia in any way. Like, Lauren Chen and Tim Pool and these people have been saying the same things for the last 5 or 6 years. And they only got that deal with the Russian company, 2 years ago? There's no clear change in their rhetoric. I just don't even understand the big deal of it. I do think that was pretty funny when Milo said there that Dave Rubin knew he used the Russian money to buy his children. I thought that was pretty funny, but I know a lot of you are not going to like that very much. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Tim Pool absolutely going in on David Pakman. And of course, David Pakman feels the need to defend himself with lies and just super bad faith arguments like he always does. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole David Pakman versus Tim Pool situation.